Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. This has been a long awaited job, and for one reason or another it's taken us a little while to get this done. But you regular guys would have remembered when Camera Lady built these new mantis den enclosures, and we got these purely for our Typhochlaena seladonia, the Brazilian jewel, which have been in these, and they've done really well in these. So there's a bit of a conflict in the care of these guys, and some people seem to really struggle, others do well with them. They're very much like the Avix in the terms of their mystique, if you like. Now, all your care sheets say that they require a lot of ventilation, which in this particular enclosure we've got a full vented lid on the top, and there's ventilation down the side as well. So that should, in theory, provide the ventilation that we need. Now in this enclosure, this is what we commonly know as an airtight enclosure. And all it's got is a few holes drilled in the side, in the back and in this side. I never drilled a front because that's where I'm looking. Although to be fair, when you're looking in there, it don't really make a lot of difference. But the ventilation in here is minimal in comparison to something like this. So it's been a bit of a strange journey with these guys, because what do they really require? The one thing I have learned is they don't like it particularly wet or even really humid. They're sort of like a middle of the road type spider, very much like your Avix. They do like the humidity, but they don't like the wetness. So we need to keep everything dry, and then just get the humidity running through our enclosure like we do with the Avix, and they seem to do really well. Now these guys have actually matured now, and they're ready to breed, and we've got 2 females. So what we're going to do is we are going to set this particular one up in here, and then we're lucky actually because our other female has only just recently, over the last 2 days, since we got our male actually, she has left her trapdoor and refused to go back in it. So she's literally just wandering around her enclosure. So she is going to be rehoused as well, but we're going to do her at a later date. We're going to do this one first. Now this one is still in its trapdoor, so we're going to move her trapdoor into the enclosure, and hopefully she will vacate it herself and build a new trapdoor. This is the plan. With the other one, she's already out, so we will just house her like we would any other spider and see whether she sorts herself out. But we're going to attempt to breed her first. So without further ado, we will crack on and do this. So these are our mantis den enclosures. Now what I've done is I've cut a piece of cork bark already to fit into the back of this, and as you can see around the back there, it's going to be completely open around the back, but we don't want our spider getting access to the back. So what I'm going to do, as you can see, it's open at the top here, sides and everything else. So we're going to use some of this Sphagnum Moss. Now this, I'm hoping, will give us a couple of things. One, it will fill in the gaps, and 2, once it dries out a little bit, it will also give them some material for their trapdoors. So it's a bit of a double thing really. Hopefully it will do the job. I'm literally going to just poke this down here, because we really don't want them getting access to the back of the enclosure. That's no good at all. Be very disappointed if they build a trapdoor on the back. Put that in there. And literally just fill in these gaps. We don't want to get in access to anywhere other than the front. Put that in there. Now one other thing that we have done, this particular piece of cork bark is what I would class as a sort of a knobbly piece. It's got lots of little crevices and holes and things in it, which is ideal for our spider, because hopefully she'll find a home there that she likes. And we've also drilled some holes in as well. Right, hopefully that will do the job. As you can see here, if I stand it back up, we can see that we've drilled a couple of holes. There's one here, another one there, and we drilled one down here as well. But there's also other crevices within that she can build her trapdoor if she so wishes. So we've given her some opportunity there. So now we're not gonna bother with clay balls with this one, purely because there's not really the room. There just isn't the room. So we're gonna go straight in with our moss, our potting compost. And because we're not looking at keeping this particularly wet, we're going to see how this goes. We're going to top that up with some beastie material. Put that in there like so. Now, because these enclosures are basically held together by little tiny rubber bands, there is a fear that we're going to get water seepage through the bottom. But I'm hoping over time, when it settles down, it will seal them tiny little gaps up, because they are very, very small. So all being well, we should be okay there. Now, we've got some plants here, and as you can imagine, this is a very, very small enclosure, so it doesn't really lend itself to too much in the way of planting. I'll keep it as clean as possible. Alright, so what we got here, we've got these here. Oh, look at that, for a little plant, that's well and truly rooted. So I'm hoping we can get these off. See, that's got a root system on that. Incredible. Get another one here as well. And maybe we can create something. Roots are bigger than the plant. There we go. That's all right, that looks okay. In actual fact, I think we'll leave it at that. Quite like that. I was going to put another bit of plant in there, but I don't think we'll bother. I think what we'll do is we will go with some moss. And again, the moss will hopefully hold a lot of this in place and give us the environment that we're looking for. It means that we can use the moss to get our humidity. There we go. Nice and simple, real easy, simple little enclosure. Now then, as you can see here, this is the trapdoor here. So this young lady has actually almost built it on top of this. She's made this big dome. You can see that huge dome. And if we lift this up, she should be underneath it. And there she is. Isn't that just wonderful? Absolutely beautiful. Now this is an adult female. She's got amazing coloration there. And you'll see that she's using her back leg to pull back. She just pulled that back. We tried that one more time. You see, we lift it up. You watch for her back leg there. You see her back leg? She's going. And as we let go, she'll pull it down. There she goes. She gets a little grip of it. So what we're going to do, we are just going to literally place this piece, because she's already in a home. She's quite happy in there. So we are going to just place this piece of bark in here, like so. And then hopefully, we're going to give her a bit of time, and hopefully she's going to vacate that and move in and make a new home. Now we've got the moss there that she can pull up. We've also got some little bits of lichen here, or lichen, whichever way you want to pronounce it. And they will actually, they'll use all this and they'll pull it up. You notice with that trapdoor, she's used the cork, the little tiny scrapings of cork bark, which we have here. So we can literally just flick these in there, and you'll notice where we've drilled the holes, we've left the pieces in there. So she's got plenty of material in which to build a new trapdoor. So there you go. These are a very, very pretty spider. A little bit awkward to look after at first glance, but once you get your head round them, they're not actually that bad. And to be totally honest with you, I have pretty much ignored mine, and I don't give them the what's the word? I don't give them the attention maybe that you would think so, because most people think of them as being really, really delicate. I've actually found the less I do with them, the better they are, and they work so much better. I mean, you look in this enclosure here, and this hasn't been touched. They've been in these now for probably 6 months or more, and it's pretty rough. You know, there's not a lot going on in there, because all you got is that piece of bark, and they just build up their trapdoor. Once they've done that, that is it. They don't do anything else. So it's pretty laid back really in terms of a spider. Now, with this being done now like this is more for a visual thing. This is more for us, so that we get to have a look at a nice enclosure and what have you. Now, in terms of feeding, they can be a little bit funny with their food, and we've found with these guys they prefer crickets rather than roaches. I don't know if that's across the board. That's just our ones here. They do prefer crickets, and they'll take them relatively regular. So I feed these probably on average maybe once every 7 to 10 days, and I only give them a small cricket like so. They don't like large prey, so I only give them a small cricket, and every 7 to 10 days that does them fine. In terms of temperature, these guys like it anywhere from the mid 70s to the low 80s, and they're absolutely fine. They really do enjoy a little bit of warmth, but a nice steady temperature. We don't need to change it much, so we can have that sort of temperature running throughout. And as their name suggests, they come from Brazil, the rainforest in Brazil, where the temperatures are fairly steady. They don't change an awful lot. They have a slight change in the winter time, but it's pretty negligible. So these guys don't need much in the way of temperature changes. So when we come to breed them, we don't really have to worry. We're more concerned about getting them to the right size and getting a mature male. So hopefully that should make them reasonably easy to breed. We will find out. So that is it. A nice simple enclosure, and hopefully we'll get to see a little bit more of them. Being a trapdoor, you don't see a huge amount of them, but when you do see them, they're jaw-dropping. Absolutely stunning. Right then, well I hope you enjoyed that, and don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. I'll see you soon, guys.